Yeah. Frank. Hey.
Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, and the very troublesome Junior Hockey Discussion Group on Facebook. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. Today is Monday, May 15th, 2023. We got Eric Ballard again this morning talking about the North American Hockey League's Robertson Cup week. We are on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. This morning in your car, living room, maybe you're on your phone, getting ready to go to work, wherever you are today. We hope that you are enjoying the last week of North American Hockey League action. We made it, Eric. We're through the end of the season. We're almost done.
Almost done. It's never almost done. Junior hockey, never done.
I got that. Yeah, the 2022-23 North American Hockey League season has about reached the end of the road with the Robertson Cup semifinals set for this weekend. The national championship game is set for Tuesday, May 23rd, making next week's NAHL report will last until the start of next season, a break in the action. That's not where the story ends for the 22-23 season. Eric, every one of the players, coaches, and staff of the Warriors, Black Bears, Bruins, and Wilderness managed to persevere and overcome tremendous obstacles to get to Minnesota this week. These kids all give up so much along the way. So, Eric, you've been through a lot of these NAHL seasons, the junior seasons. How much sacrifice does it take to get to the end of the road?
Well, unfortunately, I never was there as a coach, so I'm not quite sure after the first round where it goes. But there's no question. You take a look at some of the schedules and some of the locations and the travel, and it's a long season. 60-plus games and a ton of travel, especially if you're in some of those outlying areas. But what a great testament to those four clubs for sure, and they should be commended for it. But your bodies, the players' bodies, and their mental capacity, they're riding on an all-time high. But boy, I tell you, it's a long road. You think about it, and they usually report right around mid-August, and here we are mid-May. So not an NHL season, but it sure feels like that when you're 18, 19, 20.
Being away from home, when you're playing hockey at this level, there is a lot of sacrifice. Most of the time, your girlfriend's back in Minnesota, wherever you came from. I remember when you were coaching in Alaska, we able to get kids from all over the country to go up there. Same with Kenai. When you were in Fresno, how many kids from California were actually on your roster? These kids give up so much. Oftentimes they're away on holidays, away on birthdays, Mother's Day, sometimes. All these things all take a toll on a player. But it is tremendous sacrifice by these kids to really hone on their craft, and the junior level of play is a necessity to get to college hockey.
No question, Steve. You just hit a chord, and a good chord. My last road trip in Fresno was 43 days. We left Fresno. We went to Wenatchee to Kenai to Fairbanks to Jamestown, New York to Johnstown, Pennsylvania back to Fairbanks, back to Kenai, back to Wenatchee, and then back to Fresno. It was 43 days we were on the road. Wow. 43 days. I never ate more pizza and pasta in my life.
But that's really junior hockey. And these outlying teams like now Kenai, Anchorage, and Fairbanks do those kind of trips every year before Christmas. And it just so on the kid's body for sure.
Oh, so you can't manage it. It's tough.
There's a lot of storylines that we're going to go into this week. All week long, we'll talk about the four teams. I think tomorrow we have Austin. Wednesday we have Maryland. Thursday is Oklahoma. And then Friday we'll talk about the Wilderness in more detail. We have guests for all four of those days. It should be very interesting. Right off the bat, you think about these four teams, and the one team that is very interesting is Oklahoma. Last year they were playing in a big arena in Wichita Falls, Texas. Now they're playing in basically a rec rink in Oklahoma. It's a women-owned team. It's a minority-owned team. So it's very interesting to see how this team has persevered through that move and to win the South Division and come to Minnesota.
Yeah, huge testament to Garrett Roth. There's no question. Garrett Roth, and then you got Josh Berge there now. Both guys they're weather tested. Roth has been, a big mainstay up in Bismarck with Lane Sedevy for years, been around the game a long time. Berge's been around the game a long time as a player and a coach. They're not playing. They're playing in a facility that holds about 350 people. And what a great storyline for Garrett. I'm really excited for him and for Berge to be at the final show for sure. It's they're my favorite right now.
I've been to that rink. It does better than 350. When I was there for a Western States Hockey League All-Star game, it was pretty good. It was close to 1,000 in there, but they were packed in all the way around the glass, on the seats. And we may seat 350, but man, when they pack that place, it gets rocking. Not too sure how many folks got in there this year during the season. It wasn't many for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say I coached there when I was at CU Boulder, and that's where Oklahoma played. And so we had Toby Keith one night drop the ceremonial puck, and there was probably 1,000 in there.
Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. Then there's the Black Bears owner that is a single-handedly kind of reshaped the concept of ice arena management and hockey program management. He's got a good coach there in Clint Mylock. You got to like what he's done there so far. But Murray Gunty, the owner, I think he operates about 40 teams. He owns Youngstown. He owns Maryland. He has 40 rinks. He's also one of the first arena operators to be outraged by the story that is Tony Da Silva, and has made a move within his structure to ban Da Silva from all his buildings. He's the first person to actually do that, and that says a lot about his character. Eric?
Yeah, that's it's a touchy situation for sure, and for an owner to step up like that, that's impressive. Never met Mr. Gunty, so I know nothing about him, but just what I've heard, it sounds like he does a good job. And 3 years ago, I think when the Black Bears came into the league, they were a punching bag. They didn't do very well. And it's a tough league to break into. I know all too well when we were expansion franchise in Fresno. It's a very good league, and if you don't have some seasoned veterans, it makes it tough. So what they've accomplished here in the better part of 3.5 years is pretty impressive.
Of the 4 teams going to Blaine this week, only the Austin Bruins appear to be in the complete good graces of the league. Steve Howard's group emerged from the war that is a Central Division intact. And that's exactly that, Eric. Every game in that Central Division this season was a war.
Yeah, that's a great rivalry. That Central Division is they get some good hockey teams there, and a lot of those kids are within a stone's throw away from most of those franchises. They're attracting a lot of those Midwest kids, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Howie's done a great job there. He has, that another franchise that's done really well. Former USHL grounds, the old Austin Mavericks, and Craig Patrick and his group have done a great job as an ownership. Some good coaches there. Chris Talk was there to start the franchise, and but Howie's done a great job. He's been all over. Michigan boy. He's been all over the place. USHL and North American. Worked for Fit Hockey and MAP Hockey in Minnesota, and last few years he's been pumping out some wins and pumping out some Division I NHL draft picks. He's been doing a great job.
We should have him on the show tomorrow morning to replace you for the week, just for one day.
Better trade up for sure.
You've been a staple for us for the last year, so it's good to get some fresh blood in on occasion. Steve Howard probably I make him look really good. I have a face for radio. He's much prettier than I am. Helps him with the hockey thing there. So, what more can we say about the job Brett Skinner has done with the Minnesota Wilderness? The league may have named Warriors bench boss Garrett Roth as the coach of the year, but it's more than clear that Skinner's accomplishments are just sort of biblical. Let's face it, the Wilderness were all but left for dead after the Brendan Phelps fiasco. it was in what is likely the biggest cover-up in league history. Dave Boyce was the head coach during that issue. He managed to escape unscathed. But you got to like what Brett Skinner has done. He's come out of the USHL. He's led this team to a really no one wanted to go to Minnesota earlier in the season, in the offseason. Nobody thought they would have players to go back there, but they persevered. They've come through the mess, and they're right at the edge of winning another national championship.
Eric? Yeah, like I said, last time we spoke, I don't know Skinner personally, but what I have heard is just a really good hockey guy. He understands the game really well. Great tactician. Very systematic, very disciplined in his methodology. So they've done a great job. Like you said, being from northern Minnesota, I understand when they write you off, sometimes they write you off. And they were up against a big wall after that situation with that assistant coach. And good on Skinner and this new ownership group. And hopefully the fans come back and everything else. But, yeah, they're on the verge of winning another Robbie within the last, 7-8 years. So, Skinner should be complimented for sure.
I'm amazed that he's been able to put that really controversy into the background, move these kids forward, get past those stories, get past those rumors, and start fresh this year with a bunch of kids that didn't want to go back there. A lot of kids, refused to talk about the Wilderness during the offseason. That wasn't a place that anybody was going to go. We were concerned the Wilderness wouldn't even have enough players to play. But Skinner got in there, persevered, did a fantastic job, and got those kids to buy into what he was trying to do. And, man, did they ever buy in.
Yeah, no, they're riding an all-time high right now for sure. And like I said, all four teams in the Robbie right now bring a different set of dynamics and skill sets for sure. But it'd be a really good tournament to be a part of and watch.
This is the first time in a long time that, 3 of the 4 teams were top seeds, division champions going into the final. Only the Wilderness were able to knock off Wisconsin to go in as a number 2 seed. And to have 3 out of the 4 teams be number 1 top seeds in their division, I think it makes for a great tournament this weekend.
Yeah, obviously those teams have found a way to win all season long to stay at the very top, which is, again, the league is a tough league. The last time I saw a team consistently stay at the top and get to a Robbie and win would have been Tony Curtali's Texas Tornado. I mean, they very rarely 40-plus wins for 4 or 5 seasons in a row, and I think 2 or 3 Robbies, and you don't see it very often. So, no, what a great matchup that Robbie's going to be in Blaine.
So this week we'll dig deeper into each team during the week. Look for an interesting lineup of guests for the show as well. How much did Frank Serratore pay you to wear that hat this morning?
It didn't pay me anything. We do a couple hockey schools up here in the fall, and I was fortunate enough to get Coach Serratore and his family up here last year for a week. And he left with I don't know how many pieces of Air Force garb here for me. And actually, I just thought, well, you know what? I'll break it out. I actually just took the tag off this morning just so I could give him a little plug.
I can appreciate it. It's the blue and white, and I'm suffering from blue and white disease after the Maple Leafs bowed out of the playoffs, so I appreciate the coloring. Folks, that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then,